Why God put someone in your heart. There are moments in life when someone enters your thoughts. They could enter your thought either at an unexpected time or enter it persistently and linger in your mind, not just for a passing second, but day after day, moment after moment. You may even feel their presence in your spirit, or their name could be echoing in your prayers, or their face could just keep appearing in your dreams. If you have experienced any of that, I am sure you will have the question of why in your heart. Why are they in my thoughts? Why can't I shake them? You probably might have asked yourself if it was coincidence or if it's just memory. Many other times you feel it might be something deeper, something that you just can't explain. There are many reasons why someone can persistently be on your mind. Sometimes it could be from God, meaning God is the one putting the person constantly in your heart. This is our focus today, but because there are others reasons why someone could be persistently in your heart, we would need to get the other reasons out of the way. We will need to be sure that it is God doing it. The other reasons that could be responsible for having someone persistently in your thoughts and mind could be natural human emotions, psychology, or unseen spiritual influences. Don't worry, I will try and shed light on each, helping you know which is which before moving into our main topic. Why God put someone in your heart. How to tell the source of the constant thought of someone else. A. Your constant thought of someone could be as a result of natural human processes such as soul ties, emotional bonds, and memories. We naturally think about people we love or have shared deep experiences with. Also, if someone has hurt us or left an impact, our mind may revisit the situation often for emotional closure. And lastly, psychologically speaking, if someone is thinking of you, you will often find yourself thinking of them too. So how do you tell if this is the case? Well, here are a few ways to tell. If the thoughts are linked to past experiences or emotions. If there's a natural reason for thinking about them, e.g. recent interaction, shared memories. If there are no strong spiritual prompting to pray or act, but it's just a lingering thought. The subject matter of emotions and all begs the question, can you love the wrong person? Yes. 1,000 times yes. You can love someone with every piece of your soul, and they can still be wrong for you. You can pray for them, wait for them, believe in them, and they can still break you. Love is so powerful, but it is not proof. Just because you love someone doesn't mean they are meant for you. Just because your heart longs for them doesn't mean they are your destiny. We are human, and humans, we get attached. We see potential. We love deeply, even when we shouldn't. We ignore the warning signs, the red flags, the restless nights, because love makes us hope. Love makes us stay. But sometimes the love that feels the strongest is the one sent to teach you, not to keep you. You can love someone, and God can still ask you to walk away. You can love someone, and they can still be the reason you lose yourself. You can love someone, and it can still hurt more than it heals. So, can you love the wrong person? Yes. But you don't have to stay. God's love for you is bigger than your attachment to them. If He is calling you out of something, it's not because He wants to punish you. It's because He knows what's on the other side of your obedience. And trust me, when you finally let go, when you finally see what He has in store for you, you'll wonder why you ever fought so hard to stay in the first place. B. Your constant thought of someone could also be as a result of unseen spiritual influences such as enemy distractions, deception, unhealthy attachments, or the thoughts of them could be as a result of some psychological factors such as unresolved emotions of pain, regret, and nostalgia. If the constant thoughts about a person bring along with them confusion, fear, obsession, or emotional distress, the source could be any of these. How do you tell specifically and be sure that the sources are either spiritual or psychological? I recommend the following Pray and test the spirit according to what the Bible says in 1 John chapter 4, verse 1. If the thought leads to peace, clarity, or godly action, it's likely from God. Ay, ay, ay. If it constantly leads to confusion, temptation, or distress, it may be from the flesh or the enemy. Finally, your constant thought of a person could be as a result of God's intervention, and He does that in order to prompt you to do something or to reveal a spiritual assignment or calling. How do you tell? The thought comes with peace or urgency, not fear or anxiety. Ay, ay. You feel led to pray, help, or reach out. Ay, ay, ay. There's no selfish motive. It's about God's purpose, not personal gain. Look for purpose, because if it's from God, there's usually a kingdom purpose of whether to pray, help, grow, or act in love. Why God put someone in your heart? Now that we have that out of the way, by now you should be sure as to the source of the constant thoughts. Now we can get to the reason why God put someone in our minds. When God places someone in your heart, it is never random, it is never without reason. There is a spiritual, emotional, and even psychological purpose behind it, and understanding why can change not just your life, but theirs too. When God places someone on your heart, love is almost always involved, even though the kind of love may depend on His purpose for that connection. Without further ado, let's get into the many reasons why God put someone in your heart. 1. Because they are meant to be in your life. It is not every love that is fleeting, and certainly not every connection is random. Some people are placed in your heart because they are meant to stay, just like in the story of Ruth and Boaz. Ruth was a widow who followed her mother-in-law Naomi into an uncertain future. Boaz was a wealthy man who had no idea his life was about to change. But when their paths crossed, it didn't cross by chance. It crossed because it was divinely aligned. The Bible in Ruth chapter 2 and in verse 3 says, particular, as it turned out, she was working in a field belonging to Boaz. As it turned out. To us, we may see it as just coincidence, but to God, it was destiny. So sometimes when someone is on your heart, it's because God is orchestrating something. Maybe they are the person you are meant to build a future with, to love deeply, to grow alongside. Maybe they are your Boaz, or maybe you are theirs. If God has placed someone in your heart, pray about it. Ask Him for clarity, for peace, for confirmation, because when it's His doing, things will begin to align. What if when the love feels one-sided, is it still from God? Love can be one of the most confusing, agonizing, beautiful things to ever happen to a person. But what happens when love feels lopsided? When you're thinking about them morning and night, praying, hoping, waiting, but they don't seem to feel the same. Does that mean God didn't put them in your heart, or did you just make it all up? Let me say this clearly. Just because God has placed someone in your heart doesn't mean they will immediately recognize it or respond in the way you expect. I don't believe love is always instant. It unfolds, sometimes painfully slow. Sometimes what you feel is real, pure from God, but the person isn't ready, or their journey is taking them somewhere different. And in some other case, if we're honest, what we call God is actually our own deep longing dressed up as divine revelation. So how do you know? How do you tell the difference? Pray, but don't manipulate. Love is never forced, never coerced. If God truly placed this person in your heart, trust Him enough to leave it there without trying to control the outcome. If it's real, if it's divine, it will return in its own time, in its own way, or God will gently, sometimes painfully, replace it with something better. But if the feeling is one-sided and stays that way for too long, then maybe, just maybe, what God was teaching you wasn't about the other person at all. Maybe the love He placed in your heart was meant to grow you, to teach you patience, to purify your motives, to stretch your capacity to love without expectation. Because love is never wasted, even if it's not returned. So don't let rejection define you. Love well, love freely, love bravely, and trust God to either bring them into your life in His perfect time or heal your heart when He asks you to let go. 2. Because you need to learn something about love. Another reason God puts someone in your heart may be because you need to learn something about love. Among the many things love comes with is a lesson. Love comes with lessons, and sometimes God places someone in your heart not to give you a relationship, but to teach you something about yourself. It could be patience. Maybe the connection is teaching you to wait on God's perfect timing. Healing. Maybe this person reflects something in you that still needs to heal. Selflessness. Maybe this love is meant to stretch you, to teach you how to give without expecting in return. You know the story of Jacob and Rachel, how Jacob loved Rachel so much that he worked 7 years to marry her, only to be deceived into marrying her sister. Instead of walking away, he worked another 7 years for Rachel. Genesis chapter 29 verse 20 says, "So Jacob served 7 years to get Rachel, but they seemed like only a few days to him because of his love for her." Love that comes from God doesn't always come instantly. Sometimes it will require endurance, faith, and growth. If someone is on your heart, ask yourself, what is God teaching me through this? 3. Because they need your prayers. This happens many times, how that God stirs up his people to pray for one another by putting the thought of them in the minds of others persistently. Sometimes someone being in your heart is not because God wants you to be with them. Rather, he wants you to pray for them. Maybe the person in your heart is battling something you can't see. Maybe they are struggling, lost, hurting. And maybe, just maybe, God is calling you to stand in the gap for them. You might ask, how would I know if this is the case? How would I know God truly wants me to intercede for them? Well, my answer to that would be that you just pray. Just pray for them first. That's the only way to find out. In prayer, you will either get the leading to continue in more prayer for them or a leading to take an action concerning them. If their name keeps coming up, don't ignore it. Whisper a prayer for them. Ask God to cover them, protect them, guide them. Your prayers might be the very thing keeping them afloat. 4, because they are a part of your healing, and some people enter our hearts because they are part of our healing process. Maybe they reflect something you once lost, a love that reminds you what it means to trust again. Maybe they are a mirror, showing you the wounds you have been avoiding. Maybe they are the one person who sees you when you've spent so long feeling invisible. The woman at the well in the book of John chapter 4. God probably put her in Jesus' heart because he wanted Jesus to heal then. Because Jesus was already tired, and I don't think he planned to evangelize to anyone else. She, who had been through 5 broken relationships and was probably tired of hoping, met Jesus, and for the first time, she was fully known and fully loved. Now in this case, Jesus was the one who had her in mind, but look at the story of Cornelius. He also needed spiritual healing, the salvation of his soul, and so God put Peter in his heart through an angel, to the point where Cornelius had to go look for Peter. Peter was supposed to be part of his redemption, so God put him in his heart. So sometimes the people you constantly keep thinking about are most probably in a position to offer something of value that is of God to you. And some other times, God places someone in your heart to remind you that love is still possible, that you are still worthy, that healing is happening one heart connection at a time. 5. Because God is aligning your paths even though you are not at the point where they can come into your life. He just wants you to be aware. Awareness motivates action, transformation, and alignment with the things that have been set for you. When you become aware of a need, danger, or responsibility, it stirs you to do something about it. So God puts the people he has for you or that he has destined for you in your heart, even though it may not be time to have them yet, because he wants that awareness to motivate you to take actions to align yourself with truth. You see, before something manifests, God often puts the desire or vision in your heart long before the appointed time. It serves as confirmation that this is part of your journey. Joseph, for example, had dreams of greatness, but he had to endure years of preparation before they came to pass. So God has the thought of someone to persist because he is shaping you for them and because he wants it to serve as a constant reminder for you. So if you notice God putting thoughts of a person in your heart and it is tending towards a relationship, but you and this person haven't had much of chance to communicate, or you probably don't know the person, just wait. God is probably just creating awareness within you to motivate, to prepare, or shape yourself. Maybe there is growth needed. If someone is on your heart but things aren't lining up yet, trust the process. If it's truly from God, it will come together in the right season. Ecclesiastes chapter 3 and in verse 11 says, "He has made everything beautiful in its time." 6. Because they need you more than you realize. Sometimes the person God places in your heart is someone who needs you, not just in prayer, but in action. Maybe they are struggling, but they don't have the strength to reach out. Maybe they are silently breaking, hoping for a sign, a call, a simple message that says, "You are not alone." I don't know if you have ever thought about someone and then received a message from them that same day. Or have you felt the urge to check on someone only to find out they were going through something heavy? That is not just you. That is God speaking, leading, and orchestrating things. Proverbs chapter 3 and verse 27 says, "Do not withhold good from those to whom it is due, when it is in your power to act." When God places someone in your heart, it may be because He wants you to reach out. Send the message, make the call, check in on them. You never know how much that small act of kindness could change everything for them, but you know what, still pray about it. If the thought to reach out gets stronger after prayer, and you feel a deep sense of peace about reaching out, it may be a prompting from God. But if praying releases the burden, it might have only been a call to intercede, not to take action. Lastly, if there's unease or confusion, wait for clarity before acting. 7. Because they are a part of your purpose. Another reason God may put someone in your heart is because they are a part of your purpose. There are people in life who are not just acquaintances or passing friends. These kinds of people are a part of one's destiny. David had Jonathan, Moses had Aaron, Paul had Timothy. All these people were not just friends. God divinely connected them. There are people God will not let you forget because their journey is tied to yours. Maybe you are meant to walk together in ministry. Maybe they are meant to sharpen your faith. Maybe they are the person who will help you step into your calling. The book of Ecclesiastes chapter 4 and verse 9 says, "Two are better than one because they have a good return for their labor." When God places someone in your heart, do not take it lightly. There is a purpose in that connection. What should you do, Bowen? If someone is weighing on your heart, here's what you can do. Pray first. Seek God's voice before making any moves. Please make it a general rule to always seek God first on any matter, especially one that affects the heart. Listen to your spirit. Is this from God or is it just your emotions? Be patient. If it's meant to be, God will make it happen in the right time. Check in on them. Maybe a simple message is all they need today. Reflect on any patterns. Does this happen often with certain people? Could it be a sign of spiritual sensitivity? Let go when necessary. Some people are meant to teach you something, not stay forever. But most of all, trust that God is in control. Trust that if He placed this person in your heart, He knows why, and in time you will too. So breathe, trust, and let love unfold the way God intended. How to know if someone is your God-ordained partner? This is a question that has kept people up at night for generations. God, is this the one? You meet someone. They make your heart beat a little different. They feel familiar. Like maybe, just maybe, you knew them before you even knew them. Is that divine? Or just attraction? I hope you know and are comfortable with the knowledge that not everyone who feels right is actually right. Feelings can be deceptive, chemistry can be strong, but purpose is the real proof. A God-ordained partner doesn't just give you butterflies, they give you direction. They align with your assignment. They don't pull you away from God, they push you deeper into Him. They don't just love you, they love the calling on your life. But what if someone feels right, but things keep going wrong? What if you keep praying, but peace is nowhere to be found? What if all the signs look good, but deep down, something still feels off? God is not the author of confusion. If you have to beg, force, manipulate, or justify, it's probably not Him. If they make you feel unstable, unsure, insecure, it's probably not Him. A relationship from God doesn't mean it's perfect, but it will be peaceful. And if the peace is missing, if you're constantly battling between what your heart wants and what your spirit is warning you about, step back, step away. If it's God, it will come together without destroying your peace. So how do you know if someone is your person? Watch how they love, not just you, but others. Watch how they treat people who can do nothing for them. Watch how they handle correction, how they act when no one is watching. Love is not just a feeling. It is also a test of character, a character test. And if you're still unsure, ask yourself one question. Do I have to lose myself to love them? If the answer is yes, then the answer is no. Conclusion. I know it's hard. When someone is in your heart, they stay there. You pray, you wonder, you overthink, you ask God a million times, why them? Why do I feel this so deeply? And sometimes you don't get the answer right away. Maybe God put them there to teach you something, maybe to change you, maybe to change them, or maybe this is the hardest part, maybe they were never meant to stay. And I know that hurts. I know it does. But listen, God doesn't waste love. He doesn't. If He put someone in your heart, it was for a reason. Maybe to draw you closer to Him. Maybe to teach you patience or faith or surrender. Maybe to prepare you for the real thing, the right one, the one that won't leave you questioning everything. But whatever it is, you can trust Him. You have to trust Him, even when it hurts, even when it doesn't make sense, even when you just want to hold on.